Action-packed hour for you.
We do, because next week is the Quad Cities Prayer Breakfast. It's actually going to be at the River Center.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk with Janet Pascal, and she has been in the music industry for a long time. Also, she's written some songs. I did not even realize she was a songwriter, and she composed some songs that you might recognize that you've, sing in church.
Yeah.
We sing in churches and
Exactly.
our churches.
So looking forward to that. Also, we are doing our live stream somewhere. She sings them. But yeah, so we are live streaming as well on Facebook and also on Twitter and on YouTube. So you can check out our mid-morning show, Coffee Break. But yeah, we're going to visit with Janet coming up later this hour. Also hear one of her songs and also have maybe something special to give away.
That's
as well.
right. So you won't want to miss it. She'll be here around 7:30. We'll be talking with her a little after 7:30 this morning.
It is Francesca Battistelli right now, and If We're Honest on Moody Radio. Good morning. Well, welcome to a new week.
Yep. And if you've been hearing about this book, Elizabeth Elliot's Becoming Elizabeth Elliot, written by Ellen Vaughn, which we just talked about, we're going to give this away for Mindbender Trivia.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're interested in winning a copy of that, stay tuned for the contest coming up around 8:05 this morning.
Yeah. Great book. Mm-hmm. And we've been hearing a lot of folks talking about it and, giving comments about Elizabeth Elliot in their life. And so, pretty cool.
I love one of her quotes. The fact that I'm a woman does not make me a different kind of Christian, but the fact that I'm a Christian makes me a different kind of woman.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's
great. Turn of words, but complete, just gets the point across.
Sure.
That the gospel makes a difference in how we do life.
Yeah, that's right. Sure does. So maybe you've got a memory of Elizabeth Elliot, something, maybe a program on Gateway to Joy that you remember, or one of her books, or maybe you saw her speak somewhere at some event. It'd be great to hear from you this morning, maybe how God used her in your life. So, morning, Heidi and Charla and Jordan.
It's nice to have you with us this morning, and hope you have a good start to your week on this Monday. It's hard to believe we're going to close the door on summer.
I know it.
Today and tomorrow we're going to open a whole new door called fall.
That's right. And there's one thing too that I was going to say is that when we are seeing people live stream, the people that show up in our feed are people that either we're friends with or that make a comment. But there's a lot of people that don't comment that they're watching. They're not our friends, and so we don't know who they are.
Oh, okay.
So make a comment. Just say good morning.
Yeah.
Or whatever. We'd love to hear from
morning.
you. My wife is watching this morning. Hi, Debbie.
How did you know that?
Because she showed up on the feed.
Oh, she did. Okay. I did not.
I have ways, Deb.
Remember, he just mentioned that if you're friends with a person, they'll show up. Luckily, he's friends with his wife on Facebook.
Yeah, that's right. So I know that my wife has had some great experiences listening to Elizabeth Elliot over the years. And so maybe she could make a comment.
Yeah, make a comment on what Elizabeth said to you. And I think the one thing that has just always impressed me is that she was not a cookie cutter person.
No.
She was her own person, and she wasn't afraid to share her thoughts.
That's right. If We're Honest, that's Francesca Battistelli on Moody Radio Quad Cities at 7:04. It is Ken and Deb here. Thanks so much for being along with us. And also, it is Locate an Old Friend Day today. And so maybe you've had an opportunity because of social media to reconnect with an old friend. Maybe that's from earlier in your life, high school, college, whatever. And you'd like to share, hey, I reconnected with this college buddy and now we go fishing, whatever, you know what I mean? I've reconnected with a lot of folks through the years of my radio career that I've been able to, kind of reconnect with and say hi and hope they remember me.
Well, that's one good thing about social media is you're able to find people that you've been distant from.
Right.
And in fact, yesterday I was just seeing an old person that I graduated high school from put our high school graduation, well, I don't know, it was a bulletin or whatever they passed
Sure,
out, a
yeah.
picture of it, and with his high school picture.
Oh, okay.
And I said, "Oh, hi!"
Oh, that's
I
cool.
graduated that year too. So
Yeah,
good
neat.
memories.
Yeah.
It's just a nice way to connect with people and
Sure.
be able to say hello again. Connect with an old friend is a wonderful thing to do, and social media does make that a whole lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. And so let us know. Maybe there's somebody that you connected with, an old friend. It's Locate an Old Friend Day. Let us know at 800-221-9356.
I do think sometimes when you're trying to locate an old friend on Facebook, it almost feels like spying, though, too.
Yeah.
Because, for me, a lot of my friends would have different last names because you get married and you have a different last name. So you don't remember necessarily your high school friend. You have to kind of figure out what their last name, new
Right.
last name might be.
Right.
And so
Yep.
you're going through records, says, do you want to go through the arrest records of, no, I don't want to really. You want to see if
Yeah.
she could be her. She's about the same age.
Right.
It's really hard sometimes to find people,
It is.
especially women, I think, because we change our last names.
Sure. Unless you put your maiden name
Right.
in your name on Facebook or whatever. Yeah. Hey, Heidi. Yeah. Sounding a little bit better, still a little rough, but a little bit better. Throat's really dry.
Well, and you got a little bit of a cough.
Yeah.
When you were coughing, I was
Still
like,
coughing. Oh, yeah. Trust me, it's not as bad as it's been.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
So have you reconnected with an old friend? And what were the circumstances? Maybe you even saw a friend like in a grocery store or something you haven't seen in a long time.
Sure.
And you hit up the new friendship and were able to visit. And there's something fun about that, just connecting with people that you were friends with before and maybe haven't seen for a while. Maybe you moved away from your neighborhood and then you saw an old neighbor somewhere. And it's heaven's going to be great for that.
That's right.
You're going to be able to see those people that you might have only met once or twice,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of hit it off with them, but weren't able to be with them throughout your life.
Yes. Yeah.
And still when you get to heaven, they'll be there.
Yeah.
You'll be able to
That'll be
reconnect
really cool.
and get to know each other better.
Yeah. So that's a subject I'll talk about here in just a minute. We just started doing a new subject in our Bible study on Sunday nights, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit. .708, good morning. It is Ken and Deb here on this Monday. You mentioned this earlier this morning that we're starting to see more people putting events on our community calendar because things are opening up a little bit more. We're figuring out how to do things by
Right.
social distancing. And so we're having a lot of different events start to show up and pop up on our community calendar. So what I'm saying is that's a great resource to find out what's going on, but also to let others know about your event as well.
And you can find it right on the front of our webpage. If you go to moodyradio.org/Quad Cities, it says Community Calendar. You can view the full calendar by clicking on the little link that says View Full Calendar.
Right.
And then also on that page, you can submit an event. So if you have something coming up at your church or organization you want others to know about, it doesn't necessarily have to be an event like a concert.
Right.
Like, for instance, this event is a mom-to-mom market where moms are selling gently used kids' clothing, toys,
there you
books for to each other, and so they're having this event. You can do a variety of events. It
Sure.
doesn't necessarily have to be a concert or something like that.
Yeah, like a trunk or treat.
Right.
Things like that. You can put those on there, and it's free of charge. We don't charge anything for it. So, but keep in mind, we would like you to have those events to us at least 2 weeks in advance, if not more. And give yourself a little couple of days as well, because we have to approve them before they go up on the site. And so if your event's tomorrow, it's not going to get on there.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
so, but so plan out a little bit and then get those to us at moodyradio.org/Quad Cities. Look for community calendar. Here's the latest for King and Country. It's called Together on Moody Radio. Good morning. So, I was talking about how we started a new study we're doing a study on Randy Alcorn's book, Heaven. Just because we were studying through Romans, and we had some folks that were kind of throwing out some questions about heaven. And so I thought, well, this would be a great kind of interlude, take a break and then go and study on heaven. And it's been really good so far. I mean, we just had I think it was our second meeting, but our first meeting was just kind of an introduction. And last night we kind of got into what is heaven going to be like. And we did have quite a few people that asked, will we be able to recognize other people in heaven? And I said, yes, I think we will. I mean, we'll think about, Jesus, when he came back in his resurrected body, he went to the disciples. And yes, at first they didn't recognize him, but once he started talking with them the way that he talked with them when he was with them, they recognized him. And so I think we will be able to recognize others as well.
Yeah, there's a few places in Scripture where we get like a glimpse of that. I'm thinking of that story that Jesus told about the rich man.
Yeah.
And he could see his brothers down in heaven. Now,
Right.
I mean, he could see the poor man had gone to heaven.
Right.
And his brothers were still on earth, and he was in hell. And he said, I want to tell my brothers not to come here. Obviously, those people were known for themselves in the prospective places they were at.
Yeah.
They weren't like different people or anything like that. So
Right.
it just seems like when we get to heaven, like Samuel, when the witch of Endor called up Samuel, it was Samuel,
Right.
and it says they go to their forefathers, So I think really we're going to be able to recognize people
Sure.
in heaven and know who they are.
Right. Well, even the
Don't
Mount
know
of
how.
Transfiguration. I mean,
Right.
we saw Moses there. And,
Right. That is
so,
a prime example right
Yeah.
there. Moses and Elijah.
Yeah.
And they knew that they were Moses and Elijah.
Right. Yep.
So,
I think that's a comfort to a lot of people. Knowing that they're relatives who knew the Lord and that are in heaven, and that you'll be able to see them again. Huge comfort. And should help us to focus on our future home and tell others about it.
and I think that's one thing that Randy Alcorn brings up is we're going to be people. I mean,
Yes.
we're going to have resurrected bodies. We're not going to be like disembodied spirits.
Right. Yeah.
We're going to be people like we're people today.
Yeah.
Just in glorified bodies.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, by the way, my wife got through and said that Elizabeth Elliott helped me on asking why the Lord allows circumstances in our lives and on forgiveness. That's great.
Thanks, Debbie. That was really good.
And on the other question, Heidi's on her high school reunion committee, so she keeps in touch a lot with old friends. So
What a blessing that is to know someone for your whole life. Like
yeah,
that.
I know it. For King and Country and Jeremy Jones, lip syncing this morning with the song. It's a 7:13.
I'm telling you, we should turn this camera around. I don't know how to do it without him knowing, but if I figure out a way, it's going to happen.
So it's great to have you with us here this morning. And if you've been wanting to locate an old friend, there's a lot of people that have done that through social media. We're talking about that a little bit today because it is Locate an Old Friend Day today. And so I was able to reconnect with a guy that I worked with in radio back in Montana recently. And he's now out in Spokane, Washington. But he and I worked together at this one radio station. And I never thought, that he would really, because he was going to college and he was going to be something else. But then he ended up being the local weatherman in Billings, Montana on this TV station there.
Cool.
And so then he did that, and now he's doing the same thing out in Spokane. He's a weatherman, but he's also, and I didn't know this at the time, but he's also a farmer. So he comes
Wow.
back to Montana with his family. They own a farm, and they plant and harvest their crops. And so he puts pictures on Facebook about that. But that's pretty cool,
It
know.
is. It is. And you guys have a lot in common, really, when it comes
And
to
I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so we've had chances to communicate and things like that. But Mark Peterson is his name, and pretty neat guy. And so, and the thing about that is that he works at a station in Spokane with another guy that I knew from Billings, but he also works in the same building, in the same company with a guy I worked with in radio in Omaha.
Oh, my goodness.
So they're all in like one place.
Wow.
Really weird. So when I found that out, I went, this is weird. You know, how does that happen?
Just be sure you stay here, okay?
So we want to know if you have ever located an old friend recently or who that is. Maybe there's a story there. Let us know. 800-221-9356.
Based on what he said, the trend would be that you would go there. It's everyone Ken has worked with
Right.
up there.
Yeah.
Excellent point, Jeremy.
So you don't go anywhere.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that was really weird when I found that out. You know, so this guy that I worked with in Omaha at the country station, Jay Daniels, is doing the morning show on the country station in Spokane. Mark is owned by the same company. They own a TV station, so he does the weather on there. And then Jim Diamond, who I knew from another station in Montana, he does, I think, afternoons on their classic rock station. So it's just really weird. And they're all in the same building.
That was kind of similar. There used to be a weather girl here in the Quad Cities, and
Yeah.
she went to a station in like Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
And I realized a guy I went to college with ended up at that same station. I'm like, hey, I know your face, and I know you, and you're at the same station.
That's really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. Small world. Mm-hmm. And then another guy, I don't know if anybody has ever watched, what is his name? He's a national talk show host, conservative, used to be on a radio show. Now he has his show on the internet. Oh, I can't
Not
remember.
Glenn Beck.
Glenn Beck,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So a friend of mine that I worked with in Billings, Montana, he left the station, went down to Salt Lake City and worked, and then I lost track of him after that. And then all of a sudden one day, I heard his voice as the co-host with Glenn Beck on his show.
Oh, my.
Pat Gray is his name. And I worked with him in Billings, Montana. Just small little world, you know, that here he shows up as friends and co-host. He and Glenn Beck worked together in Washington, D.C. on the radio together. And then they ended up going on the TV show and stuff together as well. So
Wow.
interesting. Just small world, you know. And when you've been in the business this long and you've been around places, you tend
That's what happens.
You tend to meet a lot of people. So
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty
maybe,
cool.
maybe you've reconnected with some old friends and you want to tell us how you connected with them or what the circumstances were that you were able to reconnect and rekindle a friendship. Our phone number is 800-221-9356. You can comment right here on Facebook Live, but we'd love to hear your story this morning. We know that you have one because this happens a lot more often now that we have Facebook, I think, where we just are able to reconnect with old friends.
yeah.
So hope you'll share your story with us.
$7:19 coming up here in just a few minutes or so, or we're going to be visiting with Janet Pascal, who you might remember that name from probably the 80s and 90s primarily, or if you listen to Bill Davis and you listen to Faith on Record, he and every now and then will play some of her songs from the years past. But she is going to be the featured artist at the upcoming 26th annual Quad City Prayer Breakfast.
Yeah, and she has written some pretty well-known songs. We're going to talk about that. She
Yeah.
has a story about them and also accomplished something later in life. I think you'll be surprised at what she just got her master's in.
Right. And, you know, the thing about it is that maybe that will encourage somebody
Yes.
else to say, you know what, I can do it. I'm not too old.
Right.
I can do that. So hope you'll hear that. Coming up here in about 10 minutes, we'll visit with Janet Pascal, and we'll also have something special we'll be giving away as well. Right now, it's Lincoln Brewster, No One Like Our God, on Moody Radio.
So Lynette shared with us, she said, my dad was a Lutheran pastor in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in the country. We moved away when I was 10. Because of social media, I have reconnected with some of my friends from grade school.
Oh, neat.
Wonderful memories of my years up there. So that's neat. That's
That
really
is
neat.
very cool.
Another fun thing with Facebook is when you go to find someone on Facebook and you see their mutual friends.
Yeah.
You're like, how do you know?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I've had that happen before, too.
That person lives 3 states away.
Yeah. Well, again, radio ties, okay? So a friend of mine, his name is Sandy McElry, and he and I worked together in Omaha. He went on to work in Austin, Texas, and different places around the country, and he now has a syndicated radio show that he does across the country. And there's another friend of mine that I worked with. He works with another guy that I know over in the Rochelle, Illinois area at a country station, and they just won from the Illinois broadcasters. I think it was Medium Market Personalities of the Year or something. Anyway, well, on his announcement for that, my friend Sandy said, "Hey, Chris, congratulations." And I went, so I messaged Sandy, I go, "How do you know Chris?" And he goes, "Oh, well, they carry my show, my syndicated show on their station, and then I know Chuck, who's his morning show partner, from going to conferences and different stuff like that." This is crazy. This is how people, know each other, and you just never would think of it. But anyway,
Yeah, it's a small world.
it sure is.
And it's great to be able to reconnect with old friends and be able to talk about your childhood with somebody that knew you when you were a kid, you
Right.
know. Now, this wasn't going back to when I was a kid, but I was able to reconnect with a gal that I was a roommate with in college. A couple of my roommates. One of
Yeah.
them is now her and her husband are missionaries. He heads up HCJB there on the border. And then the other one is an attorney down there at Baylor University. And we were able to reconnect on Facebook and, see each other's life, 20, 30 years after we were with each other in college. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. It's
It
a lot
is.
of fun to be able to reconnect and see how God is working in people's lives and
Yeah.
ministries, and just rejoice with them that they're continuing to, be in the faith and serve Christ. We're in different places.
Right. Yeah.
So
Very cool. So locate an old friend today. That's what it is. It's Locate an Old Friends Day. You can do that. Reach out to somebody, maybe do a search for somebody that you remember and see if you can reconnect. And we will reconnect tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock for the mid-morning show coffee break. Tell your friends about it. Have some fun with us and start your day, end your day, whatever it is with us tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Have a great rest of your day.